Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today I will analyze the case of Hayden Panettiere. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. Hayden Leslie Panettiere was born on August 21, 1989, in Palisades, New York. This is 24 miles north of New York City. Her father, Alan, was a New York City firefighter, and her mother, Leslie, was a soap opera actress. Hayden had a younger brother named Jansen. From a very early age, Hayden was launched into an acting career. Her mother started taking her to auditions when she was 8 months old, and she was in her first commercial at 11 months old. By the age of 5, Hayden had appeared in over 50 commercials. In 1994, Hayden landed her first major television role on One Life to Live. After this, she appeared on Guiding Light. Hayden's first major movie role was voicing the character Princess Dot in the 1998 film A Bug's Life. Her role as a football coach's outspoken daughter in Remember the Titans would become one of her most recognizable. Due to a busy acting schedule, Hayden switched from a brick-and-mortar school to homeschooling after the 8th grade. She never had the traditional high school experience and all the socialization opportunities that come with it. Hayden stayed busy with acting through her teenage years. She was in Ally McBeal, Malcolm in the Middle, Ice Princess, and Bring It On, All or Nothing. In 2006, Hayden was cast as the indestructible cheerleader, Claire Bennett, in the NBC show Heroes. The show ended in 2010, strangled by its own promising but convoluted plotlines. In 2011, Hayden played the lead role in a Lifetime movie about Amanda Knox. During that same year, she appeared in Scream 4. In 2012, Hayden took on what would arguably be her most notable dramatic role when she was cast as the aspiring country superstar Juliet Barnes in the show Nashville. In 2013, she became engaged to a Ukrainian heavyweight boxer named Vladimir. On December 9, 2014, Hayden gave birth to a daughter named Kaya. The delivery was exceptionally difficult. Hayden required surgery and multiple blood transfusions. She developed postpartum depression and an addiction to alcohol. Hayden said that she reached the point of drinking Fireball at 6 a.m. simply to function. Between seasons 3 and 4 of Nashville, Hayden was treated for her substance use problem at a program in Europe. She entered another program during season 4, which forced Nashville to temporarily write her character out of the show. During this period, Hayden was also taking the powerful benzodiazepine Klonopin, the brand name version of the generic drug clonazepam. She developed a dependence on the medication. In 2018, Hayden separated from her lover Vladimir, who took their daughter to live with him in Europe. Eventually, Hayden signed over full custody to him. By this time, Hayden's body had sustained serious damage from her out-of-control alcohol consumption. She was even being treated by a liver specialist. One physician told her that if she continued drinking at the same rate, she could be dead in 5 years. In 2018, Hayden became romantically involved with a man named Brian Hickerson, who was a South Carolina real estate agent with dreams of being an actor. Brian also had problems with substance use. Between May 2019 and January 2020, there were multiple allegations of domestic violence made against Brian. He later pleaded no contest to 2 felony charges in connection to these attacks and was sentenced to 45 days in jail. After this, Hayden and Brian maintained an on-again, off-again relationship. Apparently, even incarceration was insufficient to get this particular series canceled. As Hayden contended with this destructive relationship, she continued her battle against addiction. She entered an 8-month substance use treatment program in 2020, which included trauma therapy. In 2022, Hayden publicly described herself as sober and suggested that recovery was a decision that she had to repeatedly make. Addiction was not something that could be permanently cured. On February 19, 2023, Hayden's younger brother Jansen died suddenly at the age of 28. The medical examiner determined that he had an enlarged heart combined with aortic valve complications. Her brother's death was extraordinarily difficult. Hayden said that the grief could not be quantified, and she expected to carry it until she died. Despite this emotional setback, Hayden managed to restart her acting career and appeared in the films Scream 6 Amber Alert, and Sleepwalker. On May 19, 2026, Hayden published a 320-page memoir titled This Is Me, A Reckoning. The book covered her childhood, her complicated relationship with her mother, sexual harassment in the entertainment industry, depression, her recovery from substance use, domestic violence, giving up custody of her daughter, and her brother's death. Hayden also publicly identified herself as bisexual and indicated that she had dated women. At a book event on May 26, 2026, Hayden did not appear to be doing too well as far as her mental health. She slurred some of her words and spoke slowly. Hayden also had physical health problems. She was experiencing lower back pain and had been using crutches. She told reporters that she had pinched nerves. Now moving to the timeline of the incident. On Saturday, August 15, 2026, Hayden Panettiere traveled with her on-again, off-again lover, Brian Hickerson, from Los Angeles, California, to Greenville, South Carolina. Hayden stayed at an upscale apartment complex on Easley Bridge Road called Judson Mill Lofts. The unit she stayed in was an Airbnb rental. On the next day, Sunday, August 16, 2026, at 1:51 p.m., a 911 call was placed reporting that a woman was unresponsive in the apartment. Emergency dispatch transmissions indicated that the woman had suffered from a suspected overdose. When emergency responders arrived, they found Hayden in cardiac arrest. She was pronounced dead at 2:32 p.m. Hayden was 36 years old. She would have turned 37 in just 5 days. The police indicated that Brian Hickerson and his brother Zach were in the apartment with Hayden. Brian allegedly showed the police a bag of medication that Hayden had been taking at the time of her death. Narcan was found on a mattress in the apartment. This is a drug used to treat opioid overdoses. An autopsy was performed on the day after Hayden died. The medical examiner did not find any trauma that contributed to her death. The Greenville Police Department said there was no indication of foul play or suspicious circumstances. At the time I am making this video, the cause and manner of death are pending, but not surprisingly, many people suspect that substances played a major role in Hayden's death. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few areas that stood out to me in this case. Item number 1. In her book and during interviews, Hayden Panettiere talked about her relationship with her mother, Leslie. This relationship appeared to be a major influence on Hayden's life. It is something she reflected on frequently. According to Hayden, when she was young, her mother was essentially her boss. She felt she had to perform well to receive her mother's approval and love. If her mother was not happy with a particular performance, Hayden knew that the remainder of the day would be difficult. Hayden indicated that she essentially had no childhood outside of show business. Everything was related to acting. She attended a normal school for many years, as I mentioned, but she had limited shared experiences with her classmates. Hayden was always at an audition, on set, or performing other work related to her acting career. She felt left out and disconnected from her classmates, only occasionally getting invited to birthday parties or similar events. This feeling of isolation started very early. For instance, Hayden said that when she was in the first grade, other kids would ask the teacher, "Why does Hayden get to miss school and we don't?" Hayden just wanted to be a normal kid, but she never had the opportunity. Earning a lot of money as an actor also contributed to a disorienting and stressful family dynamic. Hayden said that the money that she earned paid for items that other family members benefited from. She was simultaneously a child and a working professional who people depended on. This left her with role confusion. Hayden believed that many people around her felt entitled to her money and entitled to her attention. She found it difficult to establish interpersonal boundaries. Hayden reached a point where she no longer wanted her mother to be her manager. She felt as though she was everything to her mother except for her child. When Hayden was 19 years old, she introduced the idea of ending the business relationship with her mother. According to Hayden, her mother responded, "You owe me." Item number 2. Hayden suffered not only from depression, but from panic attacks and severe anxiety. This contributed to her turning to substances. She would use them to alleviate the symptoms. The substances allowed Hayden to function as an actor. She needed them to maintain her career. At least, this is what she believed. Hayden found herself in an unusual situation. Her wealth allowed her access to all the substances that she could possibly imagine. At the same time, it also gave her access to the most expensive treatment, including residential options. Through this treatment, Hayden was able to become abstinent on several occasions, but she was not able to escape the underlying symptoms. The depression, anxiety, and the panic, which contributed to the original decision to use substances, were not alleviated. Essentially, Hayden's maladaptive remedy, the substance use, was the only thing that was removed by the treatment. Not surprisingly, Hayden would always return to the substances. She still had symptoms that were causing her to be miserable. She sought a way to get rid of them, and substances accomplished that goal, at least temporarily. Item number 3, Hayden spent a lot of time in therapy trying to uncover why she remained in the harmful relationship with Brian. She knew that he was destructive, but kept letting him back into her life. Ultimately, Hayden concluded that there were similarities between that relationship and the relationship with her mother. She said, quote, "I realized that I was more afraid of being alone than being abused," unquote. Hayden also indicated that she wanted to fix Brian because other people had forgiven her for her own mistakes. Now moving to my final item, number 4. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Hayden Panettiere was pushed into the acting profession when she was only an infant. She did not have any choice. This was going to be her career, whether she liked it or not. She decided that she would make the best of it. Being a child actor came with a number of consequences, including missed opportunities for socialization, a strained mother-daughter dynamic, and role confusion. Despite these challenges, Hayden became extremely successful. For instance, in 2007, when the TV show Heroes was at its peak, Hayden earned $2 million. At the time of her death, her net worth was probably somewhere between $6 and $15 million, based on media reports. Due to multiple factors, including symptoms like anxiety and depression, Hayden started using substances. Much of the substance use coincided with her tumultuous romantic relationship with Brian Hickerson. Despite being physically mistreated by Brian, Hayden kept allowing him to come back into her life. Just like the substance use, she could not escape Brian. He was like another drug to her. Hayden was aware that she had a substance use problem and a Brian problem. She had periods of abstinence from substances and periods of separation from Brian. Unfortunately, Hayden was never able to escape her mental health symptoms. She not only felt anxious and depressed, she frequently told herself that she was not good enough. She had self-esteem issues, perhaps stemming from her childhood. Hayden demonstrated a remarkable level of insight. She was a thoughtful person who carefully and meticulously examined her life and behavior. She considered the impact of her unusual career as well as her poor choices. Hayden did not fit the typical stereotype of a substance-using Hollywood actor. She was not arrogant. She was not grandiose. She did not believe herself to be special. Hayden never held herself out as better than other people. If anything, she probably rated herself as much less valuable as compared to how other people viewed her. Hayden recognized that she had negative experiences growing up. She stated that she received a ridiculous and unhealthy amount of praise. She was isolated, and she was afraid of abandonment. This case illustrates how insight is not always enough. Hayden knew she had a problem, and she identified some of the causes, but she chose to engage in the same destructive behavior that had taken so much from her in the past. When her brother Jansen died, Hayden's mental health worsened dramatically. She viewed her brother as the only other person in the world who understood what her childhood had been like. Jansen was someone who she loved and someone who helped her to understand herself. A part of Hayden died with her brother. She was now disconnected from critical assistance in processing her past. A lifeline to self-reflection had perished. By 2026, 3 years after Jansen's death, Hayden believed that she had turned a corner. Things were getting better. She acknowledged the harm that she had caused to herself and others. Hayden indicated that she had everything and burned it all to the ground. Even so, she believed that she had shaken off the darkness and the negativity. She had closed one door and opened another. Hayden said, "I feel like I have a lot more life to live." Just a few months later, Hayden would be dead. presumably from the same substance use that had plagued her for many years, and the same substance use that she believed she had, at least temporarily, defeated. I think what happened with Hayden is that she had a remarkable level of insight, which was unfortunately missing one key component. Hayden did not understand that the damage caused by substance use is not necessarily slow-moving. Sometimes it can kill a person very quickly. It only takes one poor decision to invite death. When Hayden was talking about her recovery, she suggested that life was not about how many times a person falls down, but about how they pick themselves up. This is an uplifting sentiment, but not accurate if one of those falls is fatal. Hayden recognized she was playing a dangerous game, but did not fully appreciate that it could also be fatal. The life of fame and fortune that she never selected for herself became an engine that burdened her with pain and supplied her with the power to use substances at will. Like so many tragic stories of celebrity deaths, Hayden is yet another gifted and successful performer who proved that if a person has it all, they actually have too much. Those are my thoughts in the case of Hayden Panettiere. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.